They hate when you elevate. The second of love.
ATP, what it do with your boy Rain? Yeah, it's that ATP Combat Media Show. Shout out to all my subscribers. If this is your first time tapping into this content, I do invite you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit your bell icon so you're all getting alerts when this content drops. So, news update. If you haven't heard by now, allow me to break the news to you that Anthony Joshua, turns out, does not have a rematch clause in place to fight against Daniel Dubois. Now, listen, this is what Eddie Hearn said the evening of the fight, right? In the post comments or whatever you want to call it, in the interview in the ring, the after the fight thoughts, whatever you want to call it. Eddie Hearn states, listen, man, there's a rematch clause there for Anthony Joshua to fight Daniel Dubois, and he's pretty confident that Anthony Joshua is going to activate that rematch clause. So, of course, as a fan of boxing and it's somewhat media, right? I guess you could say I am somewhat media. Taking that as, listen, this is up to Anthony Joshua to make up his mind as to whether or not he wants to move forward and fight Daniel Dubois again, or does he want to retire, or what position is he going to take as far as his future in boxing is concerned? Well, come to find out earlier today in social media, Frank Warren responds, lets it be known, listen, there's no rematch activation clause, whatever have you, inside of any agreement that we have with Daniel Dubois, but he let it also be known that he would be open to having a conversation with, if there's an interest in a second fight, that this could happen. Obviously, we'd have to negotiate it to benefit everybody involved in it, but there's no actual activated clause or clause to be activated as far as in reference between Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois. I thought that was interesting. At first, in my mind, I'm like, okay, maybe what's going on? So then on Sky Sports News, they're interviewing Eddie Hearn, I believe this morning, and Eddie Hearn is communicating that Frank Warren is correct, that there is actually no rematch clause for Anthony Joshua to fight Daniel Dubois. Matter of fact, he doubled down on it to say, listen, we're going to wait and see, but, there's other fights out there to be made as well. So, it's not necessarily Daniel Dubois that has to be next. AJ's actually more than willing to fight other fights, as AJ's more so interested in continuing his boxing career, not necessarily fighting one particular fight over another, although AJ would rather fight Daniel Dubois, obviously, for redemption purposes, right? But Eddie Hearn said, listen, we're going to wait until December 21st. We're going to wait for the Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury fight. If Tyson Fury is able to beat Alexander Usyk, it seems like Eddie Hearn is thinking that he's going to try to get Tyson Fury to do a voluntary defense of his, at that point, unified championship would be concerned against Anthony Joshua, as the Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury fight is a huge fight in England. It's a historical fight that fans have been asking for years, although one would question, is it still a high demand fight at this point? Watching Anthony Joshua just take this loss against Daniel Dubois, you would think a lot of fans would probably be more interested in seeing Daniel Dubois fight against Tyson Fury, or whoever wins that fight, right? Especially Alexander Usyk, wherever it is, being that Daniel Dubois does have that history with Alexander Usyk. A lot of people feel like he was kind of undermined in that fight against Alexander Usyk, but at the same exact time, with the delivery, with the performance, with the stopping power, with what he did to Anthony Joshua, a lot of people have to be moving over to the Daniel Dubois side of the argument to be more interested in seeing him fight one of these big fights than Anthony Joshua. But still, there's a nostalgia energy, right, about Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury duking it out for the crown of who runs it out here in the UK or in England, right? Interesting. Well, first thing, my thoughts on it is, number one, Eddie, why'd you say something that's not true? Listen, I'm new to the social media space. My channel is a young channel, less than a year old. But I'll tell you what, man, a lot of people have been talking about Eddie Hearn and his bending of the truth, right? His delivery of facts in comparison to truth and how it can be a gray area there, and you should take his words with a grain of salt. Well, Eddie, this definitely does not help your argument, right? Definitely doesn't help your argument as far as being this transparent, full of integrity, truth teller of a fight promoter. I mean, this is a blatant misinformation campaign, right? To have people believing that Anthony Joshua had a rematch clause that he could activate and that he was interested in doing it, and having people think that to expect a potential fight between him and Daniel Dubois. But I digress. Another thing to take into consideration is, why would Frank Warren, who has Tyson Fury under Queensberry, as well as Daniel Dubois under Queensberry, you'd have to ask yourself, would Frank Warren be more than likely to give Anthony Joshua, who just got stopped by his now IBF champion that's under his banner, or would he rather make a huge fight that's completely under Queensberry, the old way of doing business in the boxing game, right? Keeping all the fights under the same banner? That's a profitable situation. Why wouldn't he let Tyson Fury and Daniel Dubois duke it out, and not only duke it out because they're under the same banner, but now he's guaranteed to have an undisputed champion in his stable, whether it's Tyson Fury or whether it's Daniel Dubois. Now, I'm not a fight promoter, so I'm sure there's a bunch of ways to look at this, because we don't even know if Tyson Fury is going to stay active and be a defending undisputed champion or not, right? And you would think to yourself, maybe it'd be a little more profitable for Frank Warren to go ahead and allow Tyson Fury to fight Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua is a game opponent. So if Anthony Joshua were able to beat Tyson Fury, how big would that fight be between Anthony Joshua, a unified champion, against Daniel Dubois, an IBF champion, and once again have another undisputed championship fight against a fighter that, come on, Frank Warren has to be confident in Daniel Dubois' ability to deliver and become undisputed. But then again, wouldn't he have faith in Daniel Dubois' ability to potentially beat Tyson Fury as well? I don't know. Tyson Fury sometimes gives you old energy, but he's really not that old of a guy. He's a pretty young dude. But it does seem like he's towards the end of his career, as even his fight with Alexander Usyk looked like it was almost going to get aged out, as Tyson Fury was damn near looking like he was about to retire. But I think there's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of different variables that aren't being taken into consideration when it comes to putting this thing in a perfect way. Eddie Hearn is definitely in a complicated situation, because Eddie Hearn has to now figure out, first of all, if Anthony Joshua wants to return. Second of all, how do you navigate his career at this point? Well, Eddie Hearn says, listen, December 21st is the date for him. He's going to let Anthony Joshua have a holiday, let him kind of just get this situation out the way, let him and Ben Davidson get reacclimated into what Anthony Joshua's career is going to look like now, so he can even see if Anthony Joshua is going to be moving forward as a boxer. And ultimately, he's staked his mission, right? His intentions for December 21st to potentially getting the winner of that fight, especially if it's Tyson Fury to fight Anthony Joshua. You guys let me know in the comments, though, because now that the information has changed, what does Anthony Joshua do? Now, I'm hearing a lot of talk over the social media space, across the content creation space, of a potential fight between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. It seems like a lot of people are interested in that. I myself, am I interested in that? Look, once again, nostalgia, right? This is a fight that years ago was a fight that I wanted to see. Today, do I really want to see that fight? I don't know. But you also have Turkey Al-Sheikh that you have to take into consideration, because he lives in nostalgia at some points, right? Like just a few months ago, 6 months to a year ago, he was definitely campaigning, hoping that he was able to put Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder in the same ring together, because everybody wanted to see what that fight was going to look like as well. But we all saw Deontay Wilder go on his losing streak. He got outboxed by Joseph Parker and ultimately got stopped by Zhilei Zhang. So that kind of went away. But now with this dominating performance by Daniel Dubois and the way that Anthony Joshua was stopped, it kind of puts Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua in the same conversation again. So maybe that might be a fight, some sort of a quote unquote tune-up. You know what I mean? While these belts and all these championship fights are put together and figured out on December 21st. Who knows? Either way, it doesn't look like anything's going to move with Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua, or Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, or Daniel Dubois, or Deontay Wilder, or anybody involved in this conversation until December 21st, until that rematch between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. But like I said, guys, leave it in the comments. What do you think with the new information that's out there? Were you guys already abreast of this? Am I the one that's in the dark? It's quite possible, right? But if you didn't know, as I said earlier, Anthony Joshua does not have a rematch clause in place with Daniel Dubois. This confirmed by Frank Warren and then doubled down to be confirmed in the interview by Eddie Hearn on Sky Sports news network out of the UK. So let's see what happens moving forward. We'll all be waiting on December 21st. Shout out to Anthony Joshua. I hope he's enjoying his holiday with his family. Shout out to Daniel Dubois once again. Congratulations to the new IBF heavyweight champion. It's your boy Claymore Rain. Shout out to all my subscribers. If this is your first time peeping the content, hit the subscribe button, hit your bell icons as well, so you are getting alerts when all this content is dropping. And until the next scenario, the next situation. Peace.